Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, I'm super excited. I have a really awesome show ahead. And again, welcome to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. And today we're broadcasting live, as you just heard, on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, available at 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Please join us in the chat. Of course, when we're live, we have a live chat. And we're streaming all over social media as well. So wherever you're at, pop in the chat. We absolutely love hearing from you. Don't be shy. Come on in. Ask your questions. We love it. So welcome, everyone. Tonight, we're embarking on a journey into the deepest architecture of the human spirit. We've all been taught what it means to be ourselves, right? But what if that understanding is just a filter, a limiting script known as our human identity? Through ancient and mysterious practices of trance mediumship, these folks access what is pure, limitless wisdom of the human self, showing us not just the difference between being and knowing, but possibly how to unlock your true vast potential. So prepare yourself if you have any assumptions about consciousness, the afterlife, and even your own daily decisions. I think you might find them fundamentally transformed. My guest today is Niko the Medium, and I'm so excited to have him here. He's a trance medium and the author whose work explores what it means to live as the consciousness of higher self. His threads of his Threads of Infinity trilogy has inspired readers worldwide to rethink their boundaries between life and spirit. Niko also teaches that we don't reach out to spirit, we remember it, and I love that. And in that remembrance, communication becomes natural. Through his courses and live demonstrations, as well as his private readings, he helps others trust their own connection and discover the peace that comes with knowing that love never ends. So let's bring Niko on board. Hi, Niko.
Hello, Caroline. Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure to have you here today. And you're going to hear me say hello to people as they pop in. I love when they join the chat. And of course, we have Heidi with us. We love our star sister, Heidi. Blessings to you always. Such a pleasure. And of course, she says hello to you.
Hello there, Heidi.
Well, you'll see a bunch of folks pop in. Hopefully, we love when they do.
Wonderful.
So, Niko, tell us about yourself. I've watched a lot of your videos, and I'm just always so amazed at the work that you're doing. So, tell us what took you on this journey, and tell us about your course, and get us filled in.
You basically said it all already. You covered everything. You did your homework. I'm a trance and evidential medium. I'm a spiritual teacher and an author. And my work revolves around understanding how consciousness actually functions during spirit communication. So over the years, I've developed teachings around the funnel of consciousness, showing how awareness moves through different layers of the self, your spirit, your soul, yourself, how the higher self regulates trance, and how spirit blends with the auric field to deliver evidence. So my goal is to remove the mystery and fear around trance and replace it with structure, clarity, and understanding. So I teach people the difference between human identity, that's the conditioned, protective part of us, and the human self, which is the quiet, open presence that spirit communicates through. I personally believe that's what awakening is. It's not what we all think it is as a human, is to remember your human self and not your human identity. So everything I do now is centered around helping people reconnect with that deeper part of themselves and experience spirit communication in a grounded, natural way. Easy.
If only it were. If only. So we were talking a little bit about how you arrived at the place that you are spiritually today. So maybe you could just fill us in. Like, did you have a kundalini? Was it just an awakening? Like, tell us about that.
You know, when I was younger and I was about 6 or 7 years old, I had a visitation of 3 celestial beings in my room. That was pretty profound, obviously. I remember bits and pieces of it, but I do remember that I've sensed their energy near me since. It hasn't stopped. And again, I'm from New York. I was always a skeptic. I come from a Greek Orthodox religion. This is all taboo.
Mm,
And I kept shelving it, kept shelving it. Nobody really understood me. No friends, family, anybody. My cousin passed when we were 19. He was very instrumental in shifting my awareness into this field of consciousness. A year after his passing, he basically spoke to me as I was walking through a park, and a lot of signs, a lot of moments that I knew was him clearly. Then as I aged, again, shelved it, had a great awakening the first time in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And when I came to Greece, to this island that I live now, I was going through a divorce. And when I came here, 2 different times, 2 summers in a row, the first time I heard spirit speak to me in this house, which winds up being those 3 celestial beings that I met when I was a child. The second time I was walking on the field and my cousin appeared to me like a hologram, but it was actually his
mm,
body. And I heard him speak to me. I wrote about these all in my books. Um, and it's great because I never really, this was never part of my trajectory. I was a successful contractor in New York. I enjoyed my life. It was good. I had a nice cars, a home, vacations, but I was never truly happy. Something inside me was always lacking, always
yeah.
lacking. And I think that's where I found it here. And again, it's difficult to continue focusing on what's pulling you in your heart when you're worried about how you're going to be accepted from everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's when I had to let that go after a while of struggling with that. I let it go. And that's when the floodgates open. That's when connection with spirit became stronger, even messages I would receive. And after time, I got into trance. I did not start with trance right away. I was an evidential medium. I did tarot cards. I was Reiki healer, past life regression. I did everything but trance because I'm also human. And I was also taught to fear it and it's dangerous. And I believed it, which is really ridiculous because it is the most sacred and it is the purest form of communication for centuries. So I'm very honored and I'm humbled to be part of this service to spirit because I thought it was going to just be a trance medium, but they had other plans. They're like, okay, now that you're relaxed and now that you trust us, we're going to utilize you for trance. We're going to write books for you. We're going to do demonstrations. We're going to have podcasts, and the list goes on, which is very humbling, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. And now it's my higher education and my remembrance, because that's what trance is. It's a remembrance. So it's a huge arc of this journey of remembrance, and that's why now I'm bringing it forth in the teachings, and I speak about it, and I write about it, so everybody can understand it.
Yeah. There's so much information out there, and some of it consistently speaks to that, what you're saying. And some of it doesn't. So it gets very confusing for us humans to kind of navigate through it all. And,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to trance, it's like, there are certain people that seem so, and like you're one of them. That's why I invited you on the show because some people seem very genuine and others don't. So, how do we know what we can trust and see, believe what we're seeing?
that's a difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
I don't mock and I don't judge anybody else because they are of service to the spirit realm. But even spiritual robes have egos. So it's the perception, right? Anything you look at from a viewpoint of a human, connection to spirit, other mediums, you're judging because it's an incomplete picture. We don't have the knowledge,
Mm,
right? Even connecting with spirit, even trance mediums who are working mediums, even evidential mediums, they're still trying to connect through the human lens. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, right? Because to really connect with spirit, it's number one to realize you are spirit. So you're not
yeah,
reaching anything. You're not connected to anything. Even trance, you're not leaving your body. It's not possession. It's not unconsciousness.
yeah,
It's simply awareness moving into a deeper layer of consciousness, right? Trance happens when the personality gets quiet enough for spirit to use a deeper layers of consciousness. So if your personality is not quiet enough, if you're still have an ego, if you still see it like I'm trying to connect to my human intellect, you're gonna struggle. And others that view another trance medium or evidential notice they struggle. They question it. If you want
mm,
to know if it's a if that trance medium truly has a connection to spirit, do you feel spirit with you? Do you feel the presence around you when that medium is offering a demonstration? That's how you know, right? But the
yeah,
funnel of consciousness is key because if we're viewing it, like I said, from the viewpoint of the human self, from the bottom up, if you will, right? And that's limiting because a lot of mediums in all my courses, and even trans and evidential, the lens from the human form is that we're going to connect to our loved ones and our spirit team, and it ends. And what I'm like, wait a minute, there's so much more. What about your higher self? What about the oversoul? What about the perceiver? There's so much more. So
yeah,
the best
yeah.
way to understand it, is to try to connect effortlessly with trust, with no fear, and allow that remembrance to occur because then you start viewing it again from the top, looking down to the human form. And then you understand all the structure, the entire structure of origin, the funnel of consciousness. You understand everything. So it's not that I'm doing anything, I'm not connecting. The human identity can never connect. Even right now, you and I are not connecting human to human, even though it's perceived that way. Because we both have an essence, a soul, we're communicating essence to essence through the physical form as a vessel. But
Mm.
who views it that way? Probably 5% of the world.
Exactly. I have to say hello to James. Thank you so much. That comment made my day. Thank you so much. I love our folks in our chat. They're just awesome. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that's basically what I try to do. I try to trust my intuition, and it's usually spot on. It usually lets me know. Hi, Lena.
Hi,
So
Lena.
awesome. So awesome to see you guys. Yes, pop in, say hello, please. We love it. Sometimes though, our ego does get in the way, and I find that to be like the biggest challenge is dealing with, the lizard brain because it's always telling us things that aren't true. And
Yeah.
whether it does that for our survival or whether it's a demonic force, which I've heard that there are these demonic forces outside always trying to influence us. Do you find that to be true that there are
Mm,
these demonic entities trying to influence us and use our
not at
loosh?
all.
And so they say, no, is that right?
Not at all. I wrote about that in my third book. Um, how apparitions and orbs are even possible because again that same funnel of consciousness, it's a projection of your higher being that comes into this reality. See, people still believe that the soul is in the body. It's not. It's outside the body that creates your auric
Yeah.
field. It's
Hmm.
anchored into the body through your breath that gives life force to your breath. That's the life force of your funnel. So even though when your life ends, your being, the core of it goes back to your oversoul. That's where it stores all the memories of all incarnations. But the funnel is still active. It still carries your personality, the imprints, the impressions of all your experience. That's how people view apparitions, orbs, holograms, EVP machines, all that is happening because of that. So if we are all of source and we are all of love and we have the same exact incarnations, where's this evil force coming from? It's a projection of the mind. You said something very profound. You said awareness, right? This is what happens. And again, most people don't recognize this. When that funnel is created, projected into this realm, your higher self wraps the funnel around the baby when it's born. The baby doesn't have any breath. It has brain activity and a heartbeat, but fluid in the lungs. There's no breath. That's when the higher self anchors your auric field, your essence, your funnel to this body. At the same exact time, your higher self plants into your brain and your body its awareness. So you're always connected to your essence, either through the breath, a constant reminder that nobody focuses on at all, or your awareness, your intuition, your sixth sense. So it's
Yes.
because of those two that are already implanted on you that we are able to communicate to spirit. It never ends. It never leaves you. It's programmed. It's constructed that way. So we always are able to communicate with spirit. That's why you would feel your lost loved ones near you. That's why you have a sixth sense. That's why you feel a sacred presence around you. That's why you breathe and you calm yourself down. Everything makes sense because it's meant to. Otherwise, you get lost in the human reality. And what's going to happen? What comes out of that? It's intentional to be human, to believe you're human, because it's not that you change. It's still not your body, but it's the conditioning of your mind, your human mind, that this human identity overrides your true nature of a human self. You become affected of relationships without realizing these are also human selves. So these are all soul agreements. Everybody, even strangers, even this is an agreement we've made to each other. We perceive it as a random meeting, but it's not, because we're souls. So we already made this agreement before at this specific time on both of our journeys. Everything is intentional. Everything is intentional. And there's no... So that also creates the truth of parallel existences. There's no past life, there's parallel lives. So as my funnel created this reality in my reality and wrapped it around this body, there's multiple ones going at the same time. And that's how you feel. You experience deja vu. You just know things. You meet someone, a stranger, and you just know you know them, or you went to some place and your first time there, and I've been here before. All this happens because you're cross overlapping parallel consciousness. Again, the funnel of consciousness. It's huge. It's the core of who we are, and it's barely spoken of. That's how you get lost in the human identity.
So, lots of questions there. So, we're all taught to believe, the folks that are into high strangeness and spirituality, that we reincarnate, okay? And that the reason we're here in these meat suits, right, is because we have lessons to learn. And once we learn those lessons, then we die and we go into the light, and then we're reincarnated again until we get it right. That's just the short,
Right.
picture of it. But that's basically what a lot of folks believe. And I talk to folks every day, and most folks believe that. So you're saying that there's there's no reincarnation, there's no past life. How does that work?
They believe that because we've been taught to believe in separation. Because centuries ago, this was the thinking. And because everyone was able to communicate and connect with spirit, loved ones, guides, there was no need for intermediaries. So when the religious institutions and governments wanted to gain control, they did away with all mediums. And then they instilled fear, most especially for trance, because trance is the purest form of communication. That's why everybody fears it. They fear because they were conditioned to believe to fear it. They were conditioned to believe in separation. Live a good life, go to heaven or go to hell. Come back, karma. All this stuff
Right.
I read, I was taught the same curriculum. I just don't believe it, and because I've experienced it differently. It's not that there's no time, first of all. So there's no past, present, and future. Everything is happening instantaneously. You've never left the light. You've never left your projection of your own essence. This is not my essence. It's a projection of my essence. My essence is so vast and powerful as yours and all of ours, and energy-wise. I wrote about that in my third book, that it would be like attempting to harness a thunderstorm in a teacup. You can't. It's too powerful. It would overwhelm the body. That's why it's not in the body, and that's why it's projected around the body, creates your auric field. So if this is happening in multiple realities, it is in the sense of rebirth, because as each parallel version experiences their incarnation, your oversoul is like overseeing, the higher self oversees all incarnations. The oversoul is storing all the memory and all the
Mm-hmm.
incarnation, all the facts for the growth of the soul. When the projection of every single parallel reality has reached what it was meant to learn, to accomplish, it starts retracting back, and life start ending. That's why there's no time. You could pass away at 5 years old or 95 years old. There's no certain time to die. It's just how the soul achieves what is meant out to accomplish in that particular incarnation. Once all of them are wiped out, those projections, those auric fields, those forms of consciousness remain in every single reality. And then your being, your highest being, reassesses, okay, let's start a new curriculum, new learnings, new everything else. That what people recall to as reincarnation. But there's no past, present, and future. It's just a new cycle of learning, and then new physical forms, the new vessels are created, and then again, the same cycle happens. Your higher self wraps your essence around it, or field, breathes the breath into it for life force, puts the awareness in the mind for the connection, and the new cycle begins. It never ends.
So
You
there's
don't
no
go
end
anywhere.
to it. Oh, jeez. So there's no end to this.
No.
Oh,
because there's
good.
no because there's no time, because you're looking at your time in linear. This entire existence is probably a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So we say, oh, I'm so tired, I don't want to come back again. When that happens, I'm understanding people say, I'm too old, I'm an old soul and young body, this is my last life.
Right.
All that means is that all of your parallel realities are learning at a rapid pace like you are. They're awakening. And you feel, I'm going to go back home. I'm done with this journey. But that's this timeline.
Oh,
This
I'm sorry. Not everybody says that. That's like really unique to hear. And I talk to hundreds of people, but so everybody is most people. I hate to say all and everybody. Most folks tend to think and proselytize that at some point this suffering is going to end, this earthly suffering. So are you saying that we're in a multiverse and that there's all these different like versions of us living this experience? Is that correct?
absolutely, and even this suffering that you're mentioning right now in our timeline that people are perceiving, that's one break of a spectrum. You see, of one timeline. Even your own timeline, even my own timeline. Let's say there was a difficult decision 20 years ago. You left somebody that you loved 20 years ago, and your
Mm.
trajectory shifted. You're aware of this line that you're on, but that was still occurring. Even your own line, this lifetime is broken into multiple realities. Forget about other realms. So in another reality, it might not look like suffering. You're in 2025, but there could be another life in 1225, which is wonderful. See, you just have the perception of what you can see. That's why people
Yeah,
believe they're
we're
the
so
human
limited.
identity.
Right, and we're so limited by this vessel. So it's very difficult to like basically a lot of us go by what like our own truth. Everybody has their own version of what they believe to be true.
Mhm.
And I always like to go what instinctively feels right. But there's so much, there's just so much. Like I talk to people that have had near death experiences a lot.
Yeah,
And they're always of the same mindset that, like, we're all points of light, very similar stories. We come from the light, we're going to end up back in the light. But their story typically ends with like a return to the light and not coming back here.
hmm.
Unless, once your reincarnation cycle is done and the lessons are learned, then you become one with the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. So that you're saying that's
But
not necessarily true.
you've never left. There's nowhere to go.
Oh, jeez.
There's nowhere to go. See, you're not the body. And even then, those people who have these near-death experiences, what are they doing? Their awareness shifts into the funnel of consciousness. They're in your consciousness. You're not physical form. Your essence is consciousness. That's why it's a funnel of consciousness. Let's go from the top, just to get a better concept here. Okay, you have your creator. The creator is infinite consciousness. This is it. Infinite consciousness, infinite awareness. This is it. It's not a being. It's not a deity. It's not a person. It's a field. It's a field of consciousness. Okay, energy, power, consciousness. That was the origin of civilization, of the world, of whatever you want to call it. However you want to perceive it, that's what it starts at. The creator creates the perceiver. Each one of us has a perceiver, a break from the creator. This is your origin awareness. This is who you are. This is your essence, your perceiver. This is you. Okay, in that realm of pure infinite, of pure consciousness, is also the archangels. Okay, this is the elemental. This is everything that you read about, that you hear about, those that do not have or never had physical incarnations. The perceiver is you. That's your essence. Again, at the beginning, you had no physical incarnations. It was all a beautiful field of infinite, endless, boundless consciousness. Okay? Now, the perceiver says, I want to figure out who I am. I want to explore. And the perceiver, all of us, creates an oversoul. This is also you. This is all your memory, your essence contained in one. It starts here. Okay? From there now, your oversoul creates your higher self. This is still you, but it does not come all the way to the human reality because it's governing and is overseeing every single parallel journey. That's why they put your higher self puts awareness into your mind. You just said it. You said, I go with my instinct. I go with my gut as my truth. That truth is your higher self's truth, which is the core of your essence's truth. That's why you feel it so strong. That's why we mostly always go with our gut, and we all know what's right and wrong. Okay. Then from the higher self, you're coming down again, the whole funnel, the auric field, and you have your human consciousness. This is who you are. This is the human self. It's your emotion and your intuition, ability to love, and you're still very, very much connected. That human consciousness wraps around the physical form, and the bottom part of this funnel is your physical form. And the brain has the awareness of the higher self. So that's why we see it as split. You're aware of what you see in the mirror. Your logical mind says, I'm Niko, I'm this person. I'm separated from spirit because I've been taught that my whole life. So the conditioning of the world is the same everywhere you look at it. So when I have a near-death experience, an out-of-body experience, I'm thinking, well, I'm taught to believe I left my body, transferred all the way to heaven, and I'm not going to come back. Or I decided to come back. All they did was shift awareness into the funnel of consciousness through their own human self, and they connected to the higher self. That's all that journey is. But we don't have the vocabulary for it. This isn't being taught yet. And this is what I've been experiencing through my team. And this is why they're saying and guiding me, and I'm humbly accepting it, to build the first complete cosmology of consciousness through books written from inside the architecture, not about it. And then hopefully these will go out to the world and people start reading it and saying that makes a lot of sense and remember themselves. Because that's what's going to change this world. And that's what awakening truly is. And
agreed.
It just starts from recognizing you're not the human self, and the human identity, you're the human self. That's it. It starts right there.
So let me ask you this, because I find this very perplexing. If we are originally one with the light, with the consciousness, with God, whatever you want to call God. Okay.
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's all the same. Why you said we chose to leave because we wanted to experience and learn who Why leave perfection to
You
come
never
to a
left. See, that's the misinterpretation. I'm sorry to cut you off. You
no, no,
never
no.
left. Go ahead.
No, I'm visualizing and thinking it through as you're, and I love this conversation, by the way, because this like this is like some of the stuff you don't get to hear from other folks. So it's great.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that confuses me is why choose to leave my creator to come to a planet that is mostly full of suffering? Why?
First of all, you never left the creator. Okay? You're a part of the creator.
Right.
You're still consciousness. Your entire essence is consciousness. It's infinite consciousness, just as the creator. You didn't leave, you're still a part. It's
Great.
just your
I get that.
individuality. It's the way the creator can create individuality. So what is that about? Individuality. So we each have our own perceiver. Okay, that's still your creator. That's still right off the creator. The creator created the perceiver, and the perceiver is now the individuality of the creator. It stops there, no problem. It probably stopped like that for 1 million years for we know. There's no time. Okay, you're viewing it from the human lens. I'm in this world where there's suffering. That's one reality. You're not even touching at all your galactic parallel self, which is in a different reality, different vibrational field, skips the whole human identity, starts from the higher self, remains the higher self. There's no separation. If there is, it's not as vast as our intellectual minds are less of a capacity to retain the true knowledge. And your galactic self is always in communication with your higher self, with the oversoul, and with the perceiver. And you're not controlling Earth, but you're the same exact being. So you're viewing it from a lens like, oh, it's suffering. Why am I here again? And what's the point? And your galactic self is learning from you as you're learning from its intellect. It's all
But
about learning and growth.
right, I completely get that. But if we can't, or if we are a part of infinite perfection in our creator, why do we need human bodies? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. You said it's to experience, to know who we are. But if we're part of perfection, why would we need to do that?
It's growth. It's learning.
That's the
Perfection.
part but if we come, and I'm not trying to give you a hard time, I
It's
swear.
okay. It's okay. I just
I'm just
I wrote about this. I'm trying to find a way I wrote it in my book to just read you because it came out beautifully.
I
But
gotta
it's
read your
okay.
book. I didn't read your book. I gotta grab your books. Okay, that's where I struggle. That's my struggle point. So,
Okay.
and that's the point that I can never get clarity on. Because if we left perfection and we were created,
But you never left perfection.
but
See,
okay, so
that's the
what we
interpretation.
did to come here, we kind of created this body, right? Or did the creator create this body? Why though? If we're perfect, why? If we
It's
were
about,
perfect to begin with.
and you know what? Your perceiver probably did not create its oversoul for 1 million years in our timeline. But you're viewing it as, why are we here? Why are we suffering if we're perfect? Where's the growth of only experiencing perfection and love? If this is a realm of pure love, where's the growth? How do you evolve if you're perfect? How do you evolve if you only knows love? See, this is the part where any human mind cannot fathom. It took me years to figure out the structure of origin, the architecture of origin, and the funnel of consciousness.
Yeah.
It'll take me a few more years to figure out the why, because that's the whole journey, is to remember. Is to remember it, not just experience it. Why did we struggle? Okay, let's think about that some more. Let's stop viewing it from the lens of our human self. of our human identity and view from our human self. Okay, now it makes a lot of difference because you know what? There is no struggling. Let's flip it on the other side of the coin. You're viewing it as struggling, right? But
Well,
if every single
yeah,
emotion, yeah, but if every single emotion is intentional, if every relationship is intentional, these are all soul agreements. So if you're going to break my heart, I'm going to learn what that pain feels like with many shades. If I break my heart in puppy love from that soul agreement is different. My high school sweetheart, my college sweetheart, my wife, whatever the case is, friends that betray you, heartbroken, grief, heartbroken, is heartbroken with a multiple spectrum of
sure.
opportunities to learn from. But that's not random. That's how we both learn as souls. So even these difficult moments you're saying, they're not difficult at all. They're intentional for growth. You're still
See,
perfect. You
that's
see,
where I
but you're
have
still perfect. You're missing the point. You're viewing it as an imperfect world. And why did we come here to view it an imperfect
if we're
world?
perfect.
We are perfect. Only the physical form is imperfect in order to become deeply rooted in the human experience. You're still perfect. Your exact human self is part of that same structure, or perfection or love. You don't detach to be human. You experience the human experience as your human self. We get lost in the identity and think we're human and think there's separation, and think we're suffering. That's the difference.
Okay, I completely get that, and I want to address what Mike is saying. And hello, thank you for joining us. We're creating our own. So, are we creating our? So when we
Yes.
okay, so we're creating our own. Okay, so because you hear people talk about how we're in the matrix and how this is like a video game, and
It's
all this
yeah, it's
stuff.
like that. It's like that
It's
because
like that.
because Earth is an illusion. See, when you say we are creating our experience, are you referring to the human identity or your human self? Are you referring to the physical body or the entire funnel that your perceiver is creating this reality by creating the oversoul, by creating the higher self, by creating you? See, if you look at the funnel, then yes, it's an experience created to live as a human in the human reality, which is an illusion. None of it is real. It can't be real if there's no time. So every time time is not real, your illusion is not real. It's impossible. That's
Mm,
why if we both look at the same cloud, we see two different shapes. The
yeah,
illusion is based on your lessons, your creation, your experiences. It's not the same as mine. That's why we all have different lives and experiences and pain and grief and whatever the case is, and how we
yeah,
integrate it, because that's your learning. You might have many lives in that line of parallel lives that for the first 3, 4 lines, nobody awakens. Maybe one awakens and helps the other ones awaken. You don't know what the master plan is because you're not meant to. If you knew it, you wouldn't take on the human identity. And then you wouldn't grow, you wouldn't experience it. But it's not meant to hide behind the veil of forgetfulness the entire journey.
yeah,
You see, and the veil of forgetfulness that they talk about,
yeah.
they refer to it as two different realities, two realms, the spiritual realm and the earthly realm. That's also incorrect. The veil of forgetfulness is human identity, human self, right here. Don't go any further than where you're sitting right now. That's the veil of forgetfulness. That's it. Because once you can
Is
split
that
that,
intentional, Nico?
yeah,
Okay, so that's intentional. Our creator intentionally had us forget
on Earth,
on Earth,
this is the
right?
realm. Your galactic self doesn't forget. Other other parallel realities, in those realities, wherever they are, they don't forget. Remember, you're forgetting in one line of parallel realities. So you're forgetting here, your galactic self is not. Then you have another parallel reality, it forgets, another one does not.
Yeah.
We can't possibly know. It's not meant to know.
Mm.
Is God
Uh,
lonely that it needs to experience
yeah.
itself? No. It's it's extremely intelligent. That's why it does it.
But you said before it doesn't end. So we just keep doing this for eternity? Just keep going to different dimensions or recycling back to learn. So that's what it's all about, just this constant mission of
Now,
learning and experiencing?
from an expanded human comprehension, I can understand that there's still more to continue, right? In my next timeline, it'll be a more advanced stage because I awoke in this life, right? I understand this now. You don't go backwards, you keep going forward. So I'm
Right.
trusting that all my parallel realities are all learning, awakening, and remembering. So now what's the next timeline? I don't know. How many more spectrums of timelines do you need, parallel lives to need for your oversoul to say, we got it, we're done now, and then just remain in the field of infinite consciousness with the perceiver? I have no clue about that one. I'm sure it must end somewhere. It must end somewhere.
I would think. I would think. I know for myself, like I always have had this longing to, like, I didn't belong here. I know it sounds weird, right?
Of course, I did too.
Yeah, I feel like my husband, God rest his soul, he always used to tell me, "Carol Ann, you don't belong on this planet. Like, I know you're gonna end up going back where you came from." But I've always had that longing that this is not home, I guess that's the best way to put it.
That's
What is
exactly
that
right.
all about? Yeah.
That's where you are sensing what's in the funnel, not outside the funnel.
Ah,
When you're sensing, I know somebody, I've been here before. I love to look at the stars. I feel like I've been somewhere in the stars. What you're doing is you're sensing from outside the funnel. That's where you're
so
hitting
you're
the parallel realities, other parallel versions of you. When you feel this is not my home, I don't belong here, I miss my home, you're sensing inside the funnel. You're sensing again your higher self, your oversoul, your perceiver. Also, the perceiver, that aspect of you that broke up from the creator, is at the top of the funnel, but also surrounds the funnel for every single incarnation. We call that sacred presence as well, right? When you're in a deep trance state or evidential, you feel that there's a presence around you, surrounding you, just encouraging you. When you're not a medium and you're going through difficult moments of your life, when you hit rock bottom, you always feel a presence near you. You feel you're not
yeah,
alone. Same
yeah,
thing. Same thing. That's your origin point. That's you. That's your perceiver, your origin point. Now you're asking
yeah.
how many more we're going to continue, but the question should be, how many have we already lived? You
Ah,
see? That's the question, because that's how you know how many more are going to go. And again, it's not meant for us to know, not on this journey.
no.
Absolutely not, because you're still a fragment of our essence. The perceiver knows 100%, because that's the one creating the oversoul for every single incarnation.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, the funnel concept makes a lot of sense to me. Because it almost feels that that's right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know. Look, I don't. Again, this was not taught in my college, and this is not written in
Right.
any spiritual books. So that's why I keep referring to it as remembrance, because the more I'm in trance, the further I develop, the further I go into my awareness, goes into the consciousness. That's where I realize it, And again, first it was my loved ones, then it was my spirit teams, then it was my higher self, then it was my oversoul, and right after the oversoul, the perceiver. So it's just progression. The more I develop, the more I'm remembering, the more I'm teaching, and then my perception is constantly shifting. So I'm at the point now that I understand the perceiver. I'm just getting to know the perceiver. Maybe in a year from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, I'll know what's behind that, and I'll have the question of why the creator did this. See, you just have to go with what you're capable. And again, it's too overwhelming for the body and the human mind. This is my awareness is expanding, not my brain. The awareness that the higher self implemented into the body, that's expanding because I'm trusting more and I'm remembering more. And that's what happens. And then I can speak about it, I can write about it, I can teach about it, and help people just start their own journey back to remembrance. That's what it's about.
So our creator has really nothing to do with the goings on this planet,
Correct.
right?
Correct. It's your perceiver. Your
Right.
perceiver. And even
Why
when you feel
Go
that
ahead.
beautiful, that sacred presence around you, and people
Yeah.
say, I feel God, that's your
Yeah.
perceiver. That's your perceiver. That's your essence you feel,
Mm.
which is from the creator. Same, isn't it the same? Look at it this way. If okay, it's gonna probably blow your mind, but this is the part that I really love the most. Okay.
Go
If
ahead.
if all of us are the perceiver, all from the creator, that infinite consciousness is a life force. Okay? It's something. It's power, it's energy, it's life force because it's alive. Even energy is alive. When your perceiver creates the oversoul, the same life force comes into the oversoul, the same breath, the same energy. It continues. The oversoul creates the higher self, same breath, same energy, same life force. From the higher self is split into many parallel realities, different universes, different realities, however you want to look at it, different lives, different incarnations. When it comes to you with this body, it's still the same breath. It's still the same life force. It never stopped. It never changed. And it all comes from the creator who created the perceiver. So even though we all perceive that we're all different, we're all the same exact breath.
Yeah, that I agree with completely. That I
All the
agree with
same breath.
completely. This
Not
is
just
why,
parallel realities, but all of us as
yeah,
humans, we're all the same breath. We're all come from the
exactly,
creator, the same breath. So why do we view each other as so different and we judge and we contradict and everything else as humans? Because that's what
exactly.
the human identity is about. So I don't think it's about the creator growing or us growing. I really do believe that this earthly incarnation is about noticing what happens on the outside world, how we're conditioned to believe, and then to always feel it, to remember the return, to realize that we are it.
Yeah. Then why is it that some folks choose um negativity and to vibrate on a very low level and commit crime and murders and all these awful things?
Again, balance, right? Balance. And that's also a projection of a timeline. And how do you know that you haven't had a life like that? And how do you know that even
Right.
that person who's creating the crime is not a nun, a priest, and a bishop, and three other lives in need of balance? We have no clue. All I know is that it's not random, it's intentional. Matthew wrote, that's the Holy Spirit. I wrote about that in my first book. Aren't we the Holy Spirit? Aren't we the same? Aren't we the breath of
Absolutely.
God? So even when they say the Holy Spirit in Scripture, isn't that what they're referring to? I mean, think about it. We're advanced as a species now that we can actually put expanded vocabulary into what this is. Back then, they didn't. It was limited. You know,
Mm,
even Moses, who was speaking about God speaking to him, God cannot speak to you. The perceiver cannot speak to you.
right.
The oversoul cannot speak to you, and the high self cannot speak to you because they're at a much higher vibrational frequency. It's not possible. Even these three celestial beings that speak to me in trance, they're archangels. They don't speak to me directly. That's why you have a spirit team. Okay. In the beginning, especially with trance in the beginning, you connect with different spirit team members and they're constantly shifting and moving because they're helping you relax. They're helping you trust. They're helping you open up your awareness into what you're supposed to be focusing on in the funnel, not the outside world, and be frightened. And that by doing that, they're elevating your vibrational frequency. So all your spirit team is who comes in through trance and speaks with you through your own breath until it evolves. So now these archangels are still utilizing a spirit team member or two or three, for all I know, but it's still their personality being ciphered through. So that's why
Mm.
God can't speak to us, not on earth. You see, it's just the vocabulary Moses had back then.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what Matthew said, the vibratory intelligence of cosmic awareness.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Cosmic consciousness.
yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Because your awareness with this physical form is what connects to that cosmic consciousness,
So
100%.
maybe you could help answer this for me because, well, okay, so I'm gonna give a short version of it. I because you reminded me with the book with the cosmic consciousness. When I was about 15, I was, and back then, nobody talked about these things because they
I
would think you
know.
were cuckoo, right? They'd
I
put you
know.
away. So I was reading a
Well, that
book
was
by,
only 10 years ago, so it's not
oh
that
yeah,
bad.
of course, of course, maybe 15. So So I was reading this book by Buck called Cosmic Consciousness. And it was like the kind of the beginnings of my reaching out there and reading and just downloading all this information and trying to process it by myself, which is difficult to do. Like today we have endless spider webs of resources, right? And all of a sudden I got to this one paragraph and I got what I could only translate with words as this download of information. And I was transported for probably seconds, seemed much longer, somewhere. And I became like the observer after that, like just observing. Everything was about observing, reading, grabbing information. But that moment was so amazing that I tried to recapture it by rereading the paragraph 1,000 times and it never came back. So was that me accessing the funnel, like in the
Yeah.
oversoul? Was that
Yeah.
what that was?
You attend to your higher self. That's exactly what trance is. That's also referred to as the flow state, where a musician gets lost in their music, an artist in their
Yes.
painting, a musician, you just lost. That's even an everyday person loses track of time. They drive home on a familiar road, didn't realize that they got there. All of this, daydreaming, all of this, the flow state, trance state, it's all the same. What happens? Your awareness that was planted in shifts to the consciousness. There's no time.
Mhm.
There's expansiveness. There's
Yes.
familiarity. All of that.
Yes. Because
That's
it was so
exactly.
yeah, it was like a euphoric
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's your essence in that funnel with no form. See,
Right.
we experience it through the density of the third three-dimensional realm, and that's why it's so difficult to fathom this. That's why these questions come up and this doubt comes up, because it doesn't correlate to what you experience every day in your life. That's why I say they're too caught up in the human identity, because
The
then it doesn't
ego.
make sense. All
Yeah.
of it, the ego, the density,
Yeah.
the relationships, how it matters, my status, my worth, my accomplishments, everything that's meant to be part of this reality. But when you do get into that flow state, and everybody gets into this flow state multiple
Yes.
times a day. Look,
Yes.
the same state you're referring to is the trance state. It's all about the brain hertz dropping. Right now, we're at the beta. It's a beta brain hertz. Is from 13.5 to 30 and above. That's what we're doing right now. When you take a deep breath, when you meditate, evidential mediums get to this state a lot,
Yep.
even hypnosis, it drops to the alpha state, which is 13 to 9.5. Okay. Trance is even lower than that. It goes from 8.5 to 3.5. And then under 3 is delta, which is sleep. So think about this. Every single night you go to sleep, your brain hertz drop the same exact
Oh,
pattern.
yeah.
And when you wake up, so the same flow state they talk about, when you wake up in the morning, you hit the snooze button, you just want 5 more minutes, it's euphoric, you don't want to get out of bed. That's the heart of trance.
Mm.
That's also where near-death experiences occur, out-of-body experiences occur, what you just experienced occur. All of that is the same exact way. That's the fluid portal into the funnel of consciousness. And everybody on the entire planet experiences it, and most everybody fears it. Isn't that ironic?
Mm. Wow, that's so profound. It really is.
It's
So,
the truth.
yeah, is that the Mandela effect, like these multidimensional, like swappings of time or
Yeah.
moments? Is that what it's about?
That
Because we're in this multidimensional field, so we're
yeah.
seeing things that exist in one dimension and not in this dimension?
It you just view your own parallel realities. Okay. When you have dreams and you know it's you, but you don't know the area, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
When I'm in a deep trance state, I will be in the scene. I will have people speaking to me, looking at me, hugging me, kissing me. I don't know who the hell they are. I can see my hands. I know these are my hands. I can't see my body. I see my hands. I just know this is me in another parallel reality. It because that cross consciousness exists, because it's the same funnel of consciousness. It just split in parallel realities. It's not a brand new funnel. It's one. It's one perceiver for all of your incarnations, one oversoul. Now, for the higher self, this is where I'm a little bit uncertain. The higher self can oversee multiple parallel realities. Perhaps there's another oversoul that watches another spectrum, maybe more of the galactic selves. I don't know. That's the part that I'm not certain yet. I'm still working on that, but I know it's more than one. So in that same funnel, your human self is part of that human awareness in the funnel. Not only are you focused on this body and this incarnation, but the cross-lapping of consciousness, you could definitely feel other realities you're living, which means when you wake up and you're irritated for no reason, you're irritated, and people are trying to calm you down and loving you, just leave me alone. It's like, the scratching glass on your hand. You're just so frustrated. You woke up that way. You don't even know why. And then it lasts for an hour or a day, then it disappears. Because another parallel version of you is overwhelmed, cannot control it. And your higher self takes some of this anger, irritation, whatever, and houses it with you.
Wow. Yeah.
Just for a day or an hour to give your parallel self an opportunity to catch his breath and then puts it back. You're the other parallel's lung. You share lungs that way, if you will, right? Same way you wake up happy. Same way you wake up.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing.
So our dream states are just
open portal
insights into these other Wow. Do you know, I never thought of that. What?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Our dream state is the open portal. That's why we don't remember them. That's how your higher self connects directly to you. The awareness, the conscious mind sleeps, the intuitive mind is awake. Your awareness is activated. Your higher self is sent into you in the dream state. And that's also how you cross-lap into consciousness. That's why we can't remember the dreams. Very vaguely remember them.
Yeah, usually only the ones closest to morning we tend to remember, right? So these dreams that we're having at night are just previews of ourselves in other dimensions?
It's previews in other dimensions. It's also this same dimension split where maybe an unresolved fight finds its healing and you're feeling it in this reality, but you don't remember it happening. So many. It's the possibilities are endless.
Yeah. So why do you think it is that some people can remember dreams and others can't? Because I know some people that go like, I never remember my dreams. And other people know them in such detail. Like the ones closest to the morning, I could tell an hour's worth of those. But some people can't. Why is that, do you think?
Somewhat heavier sleepers. Some, they haven't hit that part of the journey yet that they're supposed to be receiving that information.
Oh.
Again, you don't know what this journey entails for you. Sometimes it's bleed over. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's not meant for you to open up at all, to remember anything at all, because other ones are. So you don't know. You can't. That's why you can't compare with anybody. You have no idea what their journey is like or yours. And even those who say that they remember their dream, it's not all of it. It's a small percentage.
Yes, it's just fragments, right?
Yeah, and they're elaborating.
Let me see what Heidi says here. I resonate deeply with that, Carol Ann. I first heard, Preston. Did you ever hear Preston Dennett? He's a big ufologist. He's on the network a lot. He's great. That when you're seeing grids, the other morning you saw a for sale old wooden sign, very detailed, Heidi, front of the corner. Did you see this in a dream, Heidi? That's weird. Maybe it was a dream. I know you talked about grids. I gotta ask her about that because she said something about being able to see grids, like she actually can see them. What is that all about?
That's energy. That's your funnel of consciousness is light. It's energetic grids. That's how energy moves, vertical, horizontal, whatever the case is. Again, there's no physical form. That's just this reality. So it's mist, however you want to see it, multiple ways, but it is light. It's like a grid, like the Matrix, like the movie that they were talking about. You said earlier, and because all of our funnels remain in our reality when the body dies, those grids are still active. So when somebody is really focused on their human self and not their human identity, the ego falls away with the human identity. And by shifting your awareness to your human self and much more of a connection within the field, the funnel of consciousness, you're always connecting with your higher self through that same awareness. So after a
Right.
while, you start viewing your physical incarnation through the lens of your higher self and no longer the lens of the physical form. And that's when you can start seeing lights, grids, aura around people, and energies alive. You just don't see it because you're so busy being the human self. But it's possible.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I try to work with my energy, all the time. Like, even when my kids were little and they had a tummy ache, I would always, like, work, do
Yeah.
energy work with them. Um, but I guess those grids are energy, right? That maybe
Yeah.
Heidi can perceive. And yeah, I see auras too, which it was so
Yeah.
trippy when I was younger, saw them, I didn't know what they were. And, we thought there was, like, something wrong with us back then. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
You
Let
just
me
said
ask
that
you.
you just said you
Yeah,
shake your hands like this and you heal your child, your children, right? When you
yeah,
shake your hands like this, the energy is not on your skin, it's between, it's in the
right,
space,
you
the
could feel it.
atmosphere.
Yeah,
Right. You can just do that right now without shaking it. Just put it 6 inches
yeah,
and you feel the heat and the energy. So that goes to
yeah,
show you that it's not your body, it's around your body. That's the field. That's the field. So your auric field begins 6 inches around the body and continues to expand as vast as the skies. So there's energy everywhere. You just don't see it. The same exact way there's air everywhere. You don't see it.
right, you just don't see it. Yeah.
The
God, that's so
same.
cool. So when you started first like, doing trance work, I guess, did that freak you out? Like you said, I think it was your cousin, right, who
Yep,
passed
yep,
away?
yep.
Tell us about that.
Scared the bejesus out of
Oh,
me.
that
So again, when I said earlier, when I was a kid and a child, and I could sense those three celestial beings, I became at that time very sensitive to spirit energy or frequency or presence near me, however you want to understand it. So that never changed. So I was an evidential medium first, and I was very sensitive to energy. So back in those days, they were saying you could always open your eyes and come right back. You're never lost. You're never stuck in some realm. You're not going to get possessed. Just open your eyes. You have control of your back. I'm like, okay, that's easy enough. But nobody said it back then. Nobody mentioned
yeah.
that even when you open your eyes, you're going to still feel and sense the presence of spirit. So it was a course or a class, and I sat and I just we were doing breath exercises. I was relaxing my mind, and then I just felt this presence just coming like a tornado,
Mm,
like boom, very very powerful, very very fast. Now, had it come in gradually, I probably would have reacted differently, but because it came that fast, every single thing stored in my subconscious, every scary movie I've seen, every scary passage I read, anything speaking about devil and possession and everything else, everything came flooding back in my mind in 2 seconds.
what?
Everything at one shot. Why?
Wow.
Because the brain doesn't recognize more than the first layer of the auric field.
Mhm.
So when spirit is pressing against it, when you shift your awareness to the funnel, there's a lot more activity that the brain perceives it. Somebody is approaching the body, trying to get in
Right,
or whatever. So of course, why we have the subconscious brain is for two reasons. The first, the brain is always storing things in the subconscious, recognizing what frightened you. Let's store that. We use that later to frighten her again. What makes you happy is it's sensory, and it keeps it all in the subconscious.
right.
That's also how your higher self is integrating for the oversoul. So the subconscious, and that's why the dreams in the subconscious mind, it's the most powerful part of the human anatomy we didn't take for granted. So I freaked out. It all came back up again. I opened my eyes. I could still feel them. I was drinking water. I was shaking, and I was making silent deals with God. Please, God, I'm so sorry. Don't do this. I don't be possessed. I'll stop. I go to church. All that stuff.
That's funny.
And it took me 3 months to get back into it.
No
3 months.
kidding.
Because
Wow.
I let the human fear unnerve
Right.
me.
Yeah.
But then I just,
Which is normal,
again,
I mean, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
a lot of my students have the same fear. That's why even my courses now, I'm changing them up in 2026. Where the beginner's course is going to be 6 weeks of just understanding this, what we discussed in detail, feeling presence, and not worry about speaking, just to get used to it, to remember it, give you enough time to really acclimate and integrate it. And then the intermediate course, we start working about trance speaking. This way it's easier for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. What's the benefits of doing trance work?
I taught another course that a lot of them lost their loved ones. They said, I don't want to be a trance medium. I said, you don't have to. If you just learn how to connect into trance, you're immediately connected with your lost loved ones. Because if we're overlapping fields of consciousness and their loved ones passed, their fields are still very much alive, overlapping with yours. So your loved ones are with you always 24/7.
So it
Not
doesn't matter if they reincarnated or in a different dimension, their spirit is always accessible to us all the time.
And it's also every loved one you have in this reality with you, and any relationship you have in this reality with you, the soul agreement goes both ways.
Mhm.
If even right now you and I meet, we have a soul agreement because we met.
Right.
Even if it's just this one day, our soul agreement does not end until both of our physical forms are done. That's why a great grandfather has nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. His form and everybody in his generation all died before I was born. So that lineage does not connect with me on earth, but it connects with me as essence. That's the difference. So
Gotcha.
trance is very, very transformative because trance not only connects you to your loved ones all the time. So this ridiculous idea of separation of this realm is gone, but
Mm.
that's what you remember because you're connected in
Right.
that funnel. And that's where your
Right.
remembrance comes. And you're allowed to view it from that viewpoint, from the higher self. That's when you recognize another parallel reality. That's when everything that happens in this human world makes sense. It's extremely powerful. And it's going
Is
to
there
be the wave of the future.
How many people do you connect with through trance? Is it just one, your cousin, or is it your archangels? Like who is it?
Oh, there's so many. Who speaks through me now? It's just the team
Yeah.
of archangels. Just those guys.
Oh,
Those guys, like they're my
those
buddies.
guys.
There's three archangels, and they don't want to, it's not who they are. They don't want the focus to be on the messenger, they want the focus to be on the message. So they go by the name of
Mm,
Noah, the collective by the name of Noah. And that's who speaks through me. But I can still sense every other guide I've ever worked with in trance. I sense my family members everywhere.
nice. That's beautiful. Um, could we get the joy of watching you do that and connect?
Yeah. I don't even know how long your show is, but yeah.
We have until 5 minutes to 7, so we're good.
Another
Oh, what
hour?
time is it? Oh, because you're in Greece. Yeah, we have at least another 45 minutes. We're good.
Okay, no worries.
I don't wanna put you on the spot. Are you sure you're okay?
100%.
Good.
This is where I rest. I just need a couple of minutes to.
Of course, take your time.
This
I'm
is
not
where
gonna know
the.
what am I gonna know what to talk about and ask, or will it just flow? It'll just flow.
Just go with it.
Okay.
This is where the breath is huge, right? The
Yeah.
connector. This is where the breathing exercises relaxes my body, slows the brain activity, calms the heart rate,
Mhm.
and then it becomes shallow. When that breath is shallow, that's what's mimicking the breath in the field. And the breath just sucks my awareness right into it.
For those listening on FM radio, we are watching Niko go into a trance right now. He's doing his breath work, and we're just waiting for him to be ready to receive. If you guys have any questions in the comments, be sure and ask because you're watching something really special right now.
Mhm. Greetings to you, my dear one. It truly is an honor, my dear.
Very nice to
And
meet you. What should I call you?
we are truly grateful, my dear, for the opportunity you are providing us through your platform. You may refer to us as Noah, my dear.
Noah. Okay. Nice to meet you, Noah.
Likewise, my dear one. But we are not meeting, my dear. We are always connected, my dear one. You have merely just forgotten that.
Yes.
We are all interconnected, my dear. All interconnected to source. There is no detachment, my dear one. There are multiple journeys, but one remembrance, my dear. Notice even this platform you have created, my dear, how it has morphed, changed, how it means much more to you now than when you began. It is
Yes.
because it is alignment, my dear, where you are unaware on why you created it. You resonated with it, you connected to your heart, your intuition, your inner knowing, and you
Mhm.
continued. But the more, my dear, you are exploring another journey, if you will, the more it resonates with your essence, my dear. Proof that this is indeed your journey, your purpose, your alignment. And when one is truly aligned with their soul purpose, my dear, those who are meant to align with the mentor, just the same, my dear, as those who do no longer gravitate to your essence, to your energetic frequency, fall away, as has occurred since you began this journey. Is it not, my dear?
Yes, very true. Yep.
There is much speculation, skepticism, and dialogue with whom the Creator is. And as you even humbly asked, my dear, why incarnate for lessons if one is perfect?
Mhm.
Even your incarnation, my dear, is perfect. For you are now recognizing that one single incarnation is offering lessons and teachings to a multitude of beings, my dear. Recognize also, my dear, not all essences are incarnating. So this is growth. We learn through the wisdom of the pain you live, of your decision making, of your forgetfulness. We are all learning, my dear, as you are learning, rather than view your human self, my dear, as well as the human experience, as a burden. View it as a true honor to the structure of your essence, my dear. It is quite honorable when all learn from you.
Mm. Can I ask you a question, Noah? There's some people in the chat, of course, they're all saying hello and greetings to you and welcoming you. And some folks want to know the best advice that you could give uh, for our survival on Earth for like the next 6 months. Is there anything we need to prepare for or watch for?
My dear, these are all signs you are experiencing. Intentional indeed, my dear. There is no harm to come to your species, my dear. This is a gentle reminder that there is more than meets the human eye. Notice, my dear, even through these difficult moments, as you say, how your species is uniting together, albeit fear, but it is love, my dear.
Mm,
Notice how the focus is external rather than amongst each other. Notice how this widespread fear has slowed judgment, racism, hatred, revenge, betrayal. This is not another facet of awakening, if you will, my dear. There is more to come, my dear. More remembrance, unity, guidance. But each awakening, each remembrance, each signal, my dear, is offering comfort. And then hopes is offering each one of you to remember your own essence. For this is the message as a collective we offer. You are of love. Your entire essence is of love. The Creator is of love. You are merely experiencing a realm where love is questionable. Do not allow that to define who you are. Find love in the simplest acts.
mm,
Pause and offer a stranger a smile. As hectic as your schedule is, that is love. Perhaps it is intentional for you to cross paths on your city street at that particular time. Your smile alters the trajectory of what his intentions were that day. You are not alone. We are all one, all assisting, all providing guidance, all shared love. And this is how one remembers, my dear. But rather than focusing your perception on what is to come through your fears and your worries, imagine for a moment, my dear, this timeline you speak of, these next 6 months, each one in your realm focused on love, themselves, and remembrance. What do you perceive the following timeline of 6 months would offer, my dear? Would it
mm.
still offer fear, uncertainty, and worry? Or would it offer more harmony, gratitude, and love? Is this not the trajectory of your species, my dear? Humanity. This is not once more a return to its beginning, my dear, of love, harmony, unity. You speak of, my dear, the cycle. You wonder when it ends.
Mm.
And yet, my dear, in layman terms, if the creation of your realm, my dear, was of remembrance, of essence, of love, the original frontiers, my dear, if you will,
Hmm.
notice the changes that has occurred up till now in your timeline.
Yes, very much so.
So if, my dear, the cycle of humanity is now to revert toward its beginning. Can you perceive a realm, my dear, of unity, harmony, and love, where there is no war, no hatred, merely remembrance? And I assure you, my dear, that time is to come.
Nice.
And then perhaps, my dear, when that time does arrive, you would be anxious to return and experience one more physical incarnation, rather than questioning, when does it end?
Can I ask you a question? How can we connect more sincerely with our loved ones that have passed that are around us? How can we feel them more in our presence every day?
Sit in your silence, my dear. Do not set expectations or demands. Do not be consumed of the external distractions as well as the distractions in your mind.
Mm,
Shift your awareness, my dear, to your essence, to your energetic expanse. For their essence is always with you, my dear. You have sensed them multiple times, but the human
mhm.
mind is quick to dismiss as imagination and question. It is relaxing, trusting, be patient, set no expectations,
Mm.
and allow your consciousness to drift, my dear. Is that clear, my dear?
Yes, very much so, because I think, um, like specifically after my husband passed a few years ago, I was expecting more signs from him from the spirit world, and they weren't. Like, I guess I was just too anxious to have them come through, and I was blocking them. And then I just decided to not do that, and it feels like there's more of a connection. Is that the thing to do?
Indeed, my dear. Notice how you were anticipating mm, communication from another realm.
Yeah.
This is inaccurate, my dear. His essence has never left any realm.
Mm,
The essence, my dear, consciousness is vast, more expansive than your human comprehension can fathom, my dear. So if it is that vast, my dear, why do you perceive there is divisions amongst the dimensions and realms? It is all one, my dear. It is everywhere, my dear. So his essence is always near you. You are not recalling the moments. Your mind was preoccupied, and you felt a slight movement on your cheek or your hair, and you instinctively raised your hand and brushed it away,
mhm,
absent mindedly. You are forgetting, my dear, when you were laying in bed and you could sense a presence near you. Even thought for a moment that the mattress even offered an imprint, if you will, my dear. Quick to brush it off as imagination, there have been many moments, my dear, that you noticed, but preferred not to notice and dismissed it. It is subtle, my dear, for it is essence, it is energy, it is frequency. It is not loud, for there is no noise as in your realm. But also, my dear focus, your breath is not loud, it is subtle. Your heartbeat is not loud, it is subtle. Love is not loud, it is subtle. All mirroring your essence, my dear. So when one is attempting to connect, to recognize to what they are used to in their noisy, chaotic world, They will always experience difficulty. But when one surrenders, their expectation relaxes. The first thing they will notice, as you have, my dear, is the expansiveness in your own heart,
Mhm.
the warmth, the expansiveness. And then, as you sense that, you instantly recall a memory of him, which makes you smile or makes you cry. And then the next, my dear, is you sense his presence near.
Mm.
Notice, my dear, after you receive the memory, which either made you smile or laugh, you walked away. You did not remain in order to experience sensing his presence near. Be patient, my dear. Remain longer. Is that clear, my dear?
Very clear. Thank you for that. Thank you. I wanted to also ask you about we're hearing about this great awakening that humanity is going through. Are we having a global, like a spiritual awakening?
Indeed, my dear. But what is your perception of awakening, my dear?
Hmm.
What is the perception of all those in your realm? Notice how it varies, my dear. Notice, my dear, that this awakening phenomenon you mentioned is not new in your realm. This
Hmm.
has been occurring for centuries, my dear. It has just been integrated, spoken of, harnessed differently, based on the cultures, on their language, on their ability to comprehend and to accept. So, as your realm, my dear, has reached an age where the devices allow them to expand the horizons of the mind, to reach places they otherwise would never have visited in physical form. Notice also, my dear, that these phenomenons are not as they once were. In the era prior, they were destined to be loud
Mm.
in order for them to focus and pay attention in your realm. There is more of an opening, there is more of an acceptance. And thereby, my dear, these phenomenons are silent within remembrance. So, when those, my dear, who speak of this awakening, they perceive it as recalling another realm. And this is not necessarily the true awakening, my dear. When those, even those who you personally are acquainted to, my dear, have softened around the edges and are now asking you for advice, when not so long ago they were mocking you. Is that not also awakening, my dear?
Yes, absolutely. Is
They are
there a
feeling
difference?
it internally. They're
Yes,
allowing the
absolutely.
hearts to soften.
Right. Is there a difference between awakening and awareness?
Hmm. Awakening, my dear, in all truth, is not real. You have never
Mm.
slept.
Ah, that's such a good point.
You are aware. You simply choose not to focus. Many in your realm, my dear, fear remembrance, but they fear how it will not only alter the relationships, but alter their status, alter their identity. Change, my dear, in your realm is one of the most difficult to accept. Hence grief, hence heartache. Both originate through change, and yet it is still quite difficult to accept.
Mm.
And yet each one of you are essence. There is no return. There is no awakening. There is simply remembrance.
So when you say remembrance, that's remembering who we really are in spirit, correct?
Remembering that you are essence, first and
Right.
foremost. Notice, my dear, if one is grieving and one is also experiencing heartache, and their
Mhm.
perception is only through the minimal lens of their human identity, mm, they will require much time to integrate, absorb,
Mhm.
learn, and release. But when one, my dear, remembers they are in essence, they are not viewing the same grief and heartache, but they are not viewing through the same lens. And if all humanity, my dear, viewed their incarnation through the lens of their essence, would this not be a different world to reside in, my dear?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Hence the
Are
return.
right. Are we creating our own karmic energy? Is that a truth?
The word karma, my dear, indicates time. Karma indicates past, present, and future. So, though in your reality, my dear, karma is just as powerful as a concept as your timeline is. The answers to your question alter with each one who is asking based on their own journey and their own evolution. But karma, my dear, no more exists than time does.
Mm.
These are a creation of your realm. They are not real, my dear. There is no time. Is that clear, my dear?
Yeah, it's really puzzling to think of it that way because we've been,
Mhm.
especially those of us in this community, are always told about how we're creating our own karmic energy and, as above, so below, that whole thing.
Mhm.
So, do we not create our own negative energy when we don't act accordingly in accordance to love?
My dear, I ask you a question now. Hmm. Those in your community, as you state, my dear, hmm, who is offering you this information? Is it another one in physical form? Or is
Mhm.
it through a transmission as such?
Yeah, it's always people in their physical form.
Mm. No, my dear, it is not the same conditioning, the same learning, teachings of your own, the same limitations. Indeed, my dear, one will offer the knowledge that they possess, but also knowledge passed down to another in your reality, my dear. And hence, it would be difficult to find anyone in your realm, my dear, who is not remembering their own essence, not remembering their truth, to accept that time does not exist.
Mm.
And here, my dear, we are not of physical form. We are not biased to teachings. We are offering you the truth.
We always hear why do bad things happen to good people?
Mm.
So,
Is that
that's
not an honor, my dear?
yeah.
It is an honor, my dear. to
How
be
so?
good, to be good. You are exemplifying love, my dear.
Right.
When one is good, as you state, my dear, they are remembering essence. They are remembering unconditional love. In order for one to act good, my dear, they are not loving with limitations, as is the norm in your realm. They
Mm-hmm.
are remembering their essence, and they are loving with unconditional love. Your perception, my dear, is that something bad is occurring to them. This is not accurate, my dear. This is happening to them intentionally for them to learn and grow, to remain true to their identity, their essence, and to still provide unconditional love, regardless of the intention being set to them. This is growth, my dear.
Mm.
It is, it is not a crutch. It is not to be pitied. It
Yeah.
is to be honored, my dear.
I know sometimes for humans, it's very difficult to accept that suffering, especially amongst children, is to be considered a good thing or an honor.
My dear, all suffering, my dear, is being perceived through the lens of your human form. Through that limited perception, my dear, you are unaware of the agreements made between essence. You are unaware of what that trajectory of that one's incarnation entails. You're unaware of what growth through emotions, through learning, is essential for the higher evolution of its own highest essence. But allow us to begin at the beginning of your question, my dear.
Mm-hmm.
You state the human as if there is a separation from human in essence. How do you perceive, my dear, the human even exists in your realm if it were not for its breath? Even the words, my dear, spoken, even the words aligning the question, notice how they still possess the underlining of the teaching of separation of your realm. There is no separation, my dear. You are not human. You are essence and always have been essence, experiencing the human experience. You
Mm.
are not a human experiencing enlightenment. There is a grave difference, my dear. And when you are able, and all are able, to remember that truth, my dear, your essence views this perceived struggling of children, as you state, through an
Mm.
entirely different lens, my dear. To recognize it is not the essence of the child that suffers,
Mm-hmm.
it is merely the human form and the experience which is offering the teaching. Even heartache, my dear, even pain, my dear, it originates in your realm. It is experienced in your realm through the physical form. It does not affect your essence. Your essence, my dear, is pure light and love.
Right.
Pain is impenetrable, my dear.
Yeah,
Is that
it's kind of
clear?
it is very clear, and I totally believe that what you're saying to be true. But I think for the majority of people, like, it's difficult for them to endure that concept, especially those that are not yet ready to hear something like that.
It is also, my dear, because many who do recognize and remember this truth are hesitant to speak their truth. They
Right.
fear they will be mocked and ridiculed and set aside. So even those, my dear, who watch others suffer, even those who listen to others' perception of others' suffering,
Mm.
for them, my dear, who they are even more enlightened, the simpler route is to nod their heads and agree and remain silent.
Yeah.
So until humanity continues to remember, my dear, humanity is still relying on a smaller percentage, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
who are brave enough and honorable enough to speak the truth.
Right.
So not all in the masses, my dear, are hearing the truth, remembering the truth, and are being afforded to view their own experience through a different lens. Therefore, this perception of struggle, pain, and the illusion of your own continues.
Yeah. Can before we bring back Niko, can I just ask you, since it's such a big topic on this earthly plane right now, Three Eye Atlas, is this anything for humans to be concerned about, or is this just an astral body floating through space like all the other ones?
View even further, my dear. Notice the underlining of this occurrence,
Mm-hmm.
that there exists another reality further from yours.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, my dear, notice the similarities of the realities, the dimensions. Is this occurrence, my dear, truly occurring to frighten humanity? Or is it occurring, my dear, to assist humanity in remembering how is
Ah,
it two dimensions, polar opposites as your perception is, unknown to the other as your perception also is? Mirror each other, my dear. For once more, there is no time, no space, nor should the focus be on your environment and the physical form.
so Three Eye Atlas is here to help us remember. It's like a consciousness tool for us to that's helping humanity. Is that what you're
Mm,
saying?
Indeed, my dear, you are
Ah,
not
nice.
privy. You are not privy to realize the before and after, my dear. How many, even unbeknownst to them, my dear, are experiencing a shift from within. Notice the information is startling, so it offers the human intellect to
Mm,
pause just enough for awareness to expand. That is all it took, my dear. One pause. And as their awareness expanded, they slowly are recognizing a shift. More questions, and yet they sense they possess the answer, and this is uncanny to them. They are not mocking as quickly and judging as quickly as they once did of
yes, that's so
those.
true.
Because, my dear, the shift has begun. It does not require fanfare, my dear, loud trumpets, the
Right.
sky opening. Hmm. Something as subtle yet powerful offers the same message, my dear. For the message is never external, it is within, it is remembrance. It also, my dear, opens the doorway, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
of more that is to come along your timeline, other dimensions, contact, if you will.
Ah, wonderful.
Indeed, my dear, is that not also a remembrance
Yeah.
that we are all one? Hmm? And recognize that which your species fears, the unknown of other dimensions. Perhaps, my dear, they already remember. There is no division.
Yeah.
And
Well, we could
perhaps,
feel it, Noah. I think, and even Heidi mentioned, who you spoke to earlier, that she's feeling all these feels, right? And I think that Three Eye Atlas is impacting a lot of us in that way, that we can feel it, sense it. We know something is different. Is that correct, or is that just imagined?
My dear, that's sensing. What do you perceive it is? Where do
Mm,
you perceive you are sensing? The electromagnetic field around the physical
yeah,
form, my dear. Is this
right.
not your essence, my dear? Notice you accept that which is logical through studies, laboratories, devices. It allows it to be logical for you to accept.
Right.
And yet, my dear, your essence is even much more powerful, much more expansive. And there are no devices to measure that. No, it's there. So even the perception that your field is activated, what is occurring once more, my dear, is that your
Mm,
awareness is shifted to your
yeah.
consciousness. You are
Yeah.
remembering, my dear. All that
Absolutely.
is occurring is leading to remembrance. And yet, humanity continues to complicate it.
Right.
Hmm.
I love that, Noah. Thank you so much. It really brings a lot of clarity, especially when it comes to Three Eye Atlas, because a lot of people are very concerned about it. But I wanted, before we bring Nico back, to thank you so much for gracing us with your presence and your time. And much gratitude, everyone saying in the chat as well. And we hope that we get the privilege of having you back again with us, Noah.
It would be an honor, my dear. An honor and respect to each of you who have listened and those who are to listen. And my dear one, once more, we truly offer you our humble gratitude for the opportunity you have provided us today. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you, Noah. Now we're waiting for Nico to come back. Thank you, Susan. So sweet. It was a beautiful message. And thank you, everyone in the chat, for showing him such gratitude. Just let us know when you're back, Nico. Take your time.
This is always the part I don't like coming back.
Oh, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
It's
Just
just, I come
take
back and I speak, but I don't open my eyes just yet.
Yeah, take your time. Take your
Yeah.
time.
No,
That was so wonderful. That was so wonderful connecting with Noah. Thank you so much.
thank you. Beautiful energy. I could feel all the energy, all of you guys, everything.
Wonderful. Do you remember everything Noah says?
I don't remember anything Noah says.
No way.
Yeah, I left. Again,
Oh my word.
that's what I'm saying. I went into this beautiful space and I traveled around and it's just consciousness. It's, again, the deeper into the funnel of consciousness, the less you have the human mind. It's pure awareness.
Oh my
It, it,
goodness. You
it,
don't remember what Noah said?
clueless.
Oh,
But by
oh,
your by your reaction, it was probably good.
it was awesome. We talked about a lot of things, and oh yeah, thank goodness for replay. Do you ever
Yeah.
watch those?
No.
Like,
No.
I
No.
didn't think you would.
No. Because again, it's not. First of all, it's not the same. When I
Yeah,
first started watching it, I was criticizing myself. Like, what the hell? Why
yeah.
would I did that posture? That's a bad angle, or whatever the case
Right.
was. Did you see the eyes open and close?
Yes, a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my eyes are sealed shut. That's them. That's energy. My eyes
Oh,
never
no
open.
way.
Yeah, that I used to watch that, and I was mystified by them. Like, how the hell are my eyes opening? Because it's the energy around it, and they're creating eyes. And
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah.
I used to play it back, and I'd freeze it. My eyes have a different shape than their eyes, or whatever eyes they're creating.
I
Their eyes are,
noticed that.
yeah, they're
I
not mine. They're
noticed that
spirit's
your eyes
eyes.
look different.
Yeah, they're spirit eyes. It's called. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Nico.
Yeah, and sometimes
Nico,
they overlap a face on my face. I've had hair with no goatee. My cheeks went in from
oh
your
my,
view. I have faces here. I have orbs. I have lights. All that. Did
I
you see all
love
the red
it.
lights happening? Was there red
I
lights?
I did
Yeah,
see them.
yeah. And I only have a blue light. I don't even know where the red
I
comes from. I
know
just have one
specks
blue
of
light
red.
open.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
specks of red were popping in
yeah.
and out.
That's not that's spirit again. It's just a blue light. So they do all of this to show you guys that we are in that atmosphere, so everything
Exactly.
can be altered. The body is irrelevant, which is cool. So you gotta
Jeez,
just go
Nico.
out there.
Mind blown. Mind blown. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this. And I
Me
know
too.
I'm so glad. Thank you. I know everybody in the chat did, and everybody watching. I mean, we get hundreds of thousands of views. So there's a lot of people out there
Awesome.
listening and watching. And I have to ask you please to schedule some time to come back. I know you're busy and you have a lot
Absolutely.
going
Absolutely.
on,
I'd love
but I
to.
I have so many other questions that I wrote down that I never got to ask you.
You know what happens is that, and I'm okay with it. Sometimes I'm invited to a podcast and we have a good time, and then
Yeah.
Noah comes in, and then they start inviting Noah more than me. It's fine if that's gonna happen. I'm all good with it. It's okay. It's all
That's
good.
funny. That's funny. We love the both of you. We love the
Thank
all of
you. Thank
you,
you.
all of you, all of you. Thank you so much, James. Thank you. That was truly fascinating. And we're gonna have to end because there's another show directly right
Yeah,
after ours. But I will be in touch with you, Nico. I can't tell
absolutely.
you what a pleasure this was. It was
Thank
one of
you.
my favorite moments. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very
And I
much. It
will
was a
be in
pleasure.
touch.
Thank you.
Thank
It was
you,
a
dear.
pleasure.
Much
Take
love
care.
to you, dear.
Thank you. You too.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
That was such a blast. Thank you all so much in the chat for joining us. Um, we have at least another minute or so, but I just wanted to mention we're live 3 days a week now, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So always make sure you check social media because we're always posting what our next podcast is. And tomorrow, I'm super excited because at 3 o'clock, I'm going to have David Sereda on. And of course, we're going to be talking about Three Eye Atlas and the hyperdimensional new solar system that they're tapping into. There's a lot of remote viewing going on. And David Sereda is like extremely knowledgeable when it comes to Three Eye Atlas. And it's a big thing. We even asked Noah about it. And I wish we had more time because I absolutely loved what Noah had to say about it. But thank you so much. Much gratitude to all of you in the chat. Thank you so much to United Public Radio. And thank you guys for joining us in today's conversation. I loved your questions and comments, and we will see you soon. God bless, stay well, and peace. Bye bye.